On this episode, we respond to the Inman comments on our last broker portal video. We're actually bringing out some truths, peel back the layers of all this fluff.
Shining the light on this industry as a whole. Maybe you should stay away from it.
Hi everybody, welcome to Real Estate Raw&Uncut, episode 136. I'm Byron Lazine, he's Tim Barre.
Are you sure it's 136?
I'm pretty sure it's 136.
Yeah?
Somewhere in there. Yeah, it is 136.
Okay. All right.
And we're going to come with the heat, more heat than the Patriots put on those poor Falcons from Atlanta
In the
last
first
night.
three quarters.
In the last quarter.
The
We're going to
last
come
quarter.
with that kind of heat.
So I'm going to take my hat off first to those people that responded to our comments on the YouTube video that we created originally on Real Estate Raw&Uncut, but was
Syndicated on
Inman News. Thank
Episode
you for
134. If you haven't seen it, go back to 134. Check it out. Come back to this one.
Love the comments. Love the fact that you're jumping on there and that we have differing opinions. That is what this country is all about. That being said, I think you had a full-on brawl with somebody.
No, first of all, Roland Estrada, everything, and Roland is an agent broker in the Houston area with
Hope he's a Pats fan.
DeVille Homes, Laguna. I don't know if he's probably a Texans fan. I'm not a Pats fan, by the way, but that was a great game last night. So Roland, everything's coming with love, my man. I love that we can have, like Tim said, different opinions. This is actually, these types of comments in the Inman News section on a YouTube video. This is what's going to take agents and brokers really going back and forth. What's going to work for our industry going forward so that 2006 doesn't happen again and a Zillow gets created and slaughters the brokers. Meaning, I'm going to take every single person, online traffic that I possibly can and keep it for myself, right? They're at 75%. So we're going back and forth. I think Roland was a little confused thinking I'm a Zillow fanboy. Go back and check out some of my videos, man.
Wait, actually,
I'm the furthest thing from a Zillow fanboy.
I think there was one point where you actually said, you actually pulled away from Zillow completely and had some words with, I think you...
Roland, if you want, I can send you an email thread with myself and Spencer Raskoff going back and forth. Listen, when I talk about Zillow having a foothold on the foot traffic in real estate, it's because they do. It's not because I want them to have it. It's just that they do. So we're talking about the broker public portal. We'll say the name right.
But this isn't even about, it's not about the agents being romantic with Zillow or the broker portal. It's about the consumer. Really, it comes down to the customer.
Here's where we're missing everything. And I'm going to go through some of the comments here that Roland and I were going back and forth with. Everything is why the broker portal is going to work for the agent, right? So you're going to be able to protect your own listings. It's going to break, in Roland's words, that pay for play model that Zillow has over the agents. The reason Zillow wins isn't because we're forced to pay for play on Zillow because they have the attention of the consumer. Right. So, Roland, when you say that, all we've got to do is crack into some of that market share. When you're creating a public portal that only is copying what Zillow does, which is putting listings out there, you've already lost.
You need to have a new concept, a new model.
You need to have a breakthrough if you want to get that market share, that attention away from Zillow and Trulia. You're not going to do it by doing the same thing that they're already doing with maybe a prettier UI. You yourself said the UI in HomeSnap isn't very good right now. So how are we going to get the attention? How do we get the attention away from Zillow?
I think you have to look to the consumer and try to figure out what they want.
That's it.
How do you do that?
When you create a broker public portal that puts the consumer first, and this is something that real estate boards have gotten wrong, MLSs have gotten wrong over the years, is they put the industry first instead of the consumer, which is why Spencer Raskoff can come from Expedia or wherever the hell he came from and start up Zillow with zero real estate experience and start dominating the game. Because what did he do? He was the first guy that put the consumer first online.
Correct.
And he gave them the information. He gave them
Took control away from the agent.
a valuation model. When I say, hey, we need to have massive disruption on the broker portal and give the consumer more valuable tools that actually brings them to our site, like a valuation model, Roland said the AVM products out there are good enough. Good enough for what, Roland? To capture more lead information from consumers so that we can keep calling them? They're not good enough in the eyes of the consumer because they look at their Zestimate and they're like, great, it's a starting point, it's a baseline maybe, but it could be 20% too low, 20% too high. Very well could be. Spencer Raskoff sold a house, going back to him this year, that was, I think, well over $500,000 off of his Zestimate, under. He's the CEO of Zillow, right? That was a funny article. You can dig that one up there. The AVMs aren't good enough in terms of, this is an art when you're pricing properties. So there's never, I think we were talking about this before, there's not going to be an AVM out there that's going to be a complete
I mean, I think the
changer.
agents would love to think that there's an AVM that is bulletproof, but
Right.
there isn't going to be. I mean, if there are 3 comps that sold within a very close proximity to the house, the subject property, you can figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
It's when you don't have sales comparables in an area that the AVM starts to get tricky. And unless you go back long periods of time and find trending, they're never going to work well.
There's AVMs out there right now where the consumer can start digging up the comps and start basically doing their own CMA. I think when you can let the consumer get their hands dirty a little bit, give them the information instead of worrying about what's good for the agent, let's protect our listings. That's old school thinking. That's back to real estate book thinking, like I've got the listings over here. That's backwards type of stuff. Give the consumer the information. Give. Earn their trust so that they actually can utilize you, see you as the expert in the industry.
I'd be more worried at this point in time whether or not the consumer is going to be able to add their properties for sale by owner onto the broker portal. Because if it is truly a broker-based portal, they should not have the ability to do that. And from what I understand, they can.
I mean, here he says, in terms of traction, once listing agents realize what it means for them, so going back to the industry, they'll start pushing it to their clients. Roland, wake up. In 2017, the consumer doesn't want anything pushed down their throat. That's why they go to Zillow. It's very easy for them to scroll through, check this estimate, check some pricing data.
So as an agent, all the good agents are the 10% of the agents that are actually doing the transactions.
Well, he goes on to say there's roughly 1 million realtors in the U.S. Even if only half start pushing BPP to their clients, that will create its own traction. Okay, let's use that round number. 1 million agents. Half of them don't do any deals. More than half, right? So let's just go half. Let's just take half out of the equation because they're not doing anything. They're just holding a license. Now let's look at the other half. Maybe 10% of those are actually doing a lot of deals. Or the majority.
But they have their own website.
There you go. You don't think those top agents aren't going to push their own website before they push the broker public
Where they can
portal?
find the brokers who are representing the listings in the marketplace?
Where they can generate a ton of buyer leads, where they can, so on and so forth. We're going to rely on the agents now to compete with a public traded company like Zillow in terms of getting the ball rolling on advertising. My prediction, and I don't make a lot of predictions. You can go back in the show. I don't make a lot. I'm predicting right now, if this model stays the same, the broker public portal, we like to call it the national broker portal.
Yeah,
If this model stays the same, it's going to fail. And I look forward in 5 to 8 years. I'm going to give them 5-8 year run, looking back on this video on the Inman comments and seeing if I was right or wrong.
I don't think it'll take that long.
I don't think it will either. Unless they figure out a way to add extreme value to the consumer over what Zillow and Trulia are currently doing.
But think in a consumer-centric type of way in order to make that happen. I do think there is a profound need for something like this to compete with Zillow.
Oh, absolutely.
Just not quite sure that this is it.
Do I want this to succeed? No doubt, right? Because
The alternative
to
for the
Roland's
agents
point,
is
you
not
just
good.
keep pumping money into the beast, money out of your pocket.
I completely agree.
That is commission compression to some degree. When you're pumping money through Zillow,
Right.
you have to take that off of that buyer commission, basically. Okay, I paid this much money per lead, right?
Sure.
When you're just protecting listings here, this is where it gets really scary, because I can see a day in 5-10 years, maybe sooner, where the listing agent in this country isn't as valuable as the buyer's agent. Reason being, you're seeing open door, you're seeing these types of models where the consumer can get their property out,
Look at Europe.
right?
They've gone from 5-6% to 2%.
You can get your property out to the consumer quite easily. They're going to be relying on buyers agents to come and bring
So
them.
you're seeing a la carte.
I mean, Roland laughed at me when I said massive shift is still coming in real estate.
Huge change coming.
I mean, he laughed.
I mean, huge.
He's like capital LOL, like laughing in my face that massive shift is not
But
coming.
he's scared. That's a fear thing.
That's a fear tactic. And Roland, we love you, dog. We actually really do appreciate the
Yeah.
comments. And it's an open discussion. I hope that you jump in these comments and rip me again. But I really look forward to looking back on these in 5 years as well.
Change is coming. And
Yeah.
you better be thinking outside the box. You better be forward thinking, because if you get entrenched in everything that you've been doing and you've been trained to do, the foundational stuff is great.
Consumers have
think outside
so
the box.
much power. Look at what's happening in big box stores right now because of tech. Finally, we're in a day and age where the consumer has everything at their fingertips. They have the control. It's going to be the agents, the brokers, the consultants that think consumer first. What do they want? How do I deliver that on a large scale that are going to win? And if the broker public portal doesn't do that, they will lose. Drop us a comment if you're watching on Inman, on YouTube, on Facebook. We'd love to hear your feedback. We'll see you soon. See ya.